the high-speed VARA, $69. You get all three.
$69
once. Yeah, once you get all three. I've only seen VarAC AC HF on YouTube. This is relatively new stuff. If you go on PSK Reporter and you ask how many people in the world are running VarAC at the moment, right now, maybe 200, and that is worldwide. So there's very few people running it. It's pretty new. I mean, read the article on QSC. There's not one. It's so new. There's not very few publications on it. You're going to see some YouTubes on it. The guys that run the YouTubes, and they've been out for about a year. But this software is changing so fast and improving so fast. It's hard to get a video that actually represents the current version of the software. It's error correcting, so you get everything that was typed, or you get nothing. Everything's error free. So this is what your radio looks like. My radio looks like when I'm sending a VarAC signal. It's 4 signals using that 2 kilohertz bandwidth on ICAM 7300. It's pretty cool. I've run so many signals. When it optimizes, I cannot tell how many signals I'm running. Like it's like 32 or something. It's just one huge, tremendous amount of speed. How many of you guys have run Olivia? Okay. So this is like Olivia on steroids. When you look at the change in speed, this is so much faster, but it's got some of the same kind of. Now, if you run VARA, this is VARA, and you can run VARA with WinLink. This is what it looks like. This is your display. It shows the speed, and you can see how it's shifting gears. So as I was sending to this station, I was sending a WinLink form to this station, probably the report that goes out every week, and it varies the speed based on the band conditions. So you're going to see the speed graph. This graph on the side on the right hand, that's your ones and zeros, if you will. How many zeros look like zeros and how many ones look like ones? And the ones that are a little iffy, they're the ones in the middle. So if this thing looks like it's totally randomized, scattered, it'll probably be yellow, and sometimes it looks red if it just looks like dots all over the place. So you want to see the partial there. You also see your audio. You see how hard your CPU is working. You decode the signal. Your automatic frequency control, this is right there, and your signal noise ratio. And then the waterfalls at the bottom. So that's VARA. You talking head fans in here? How did I get here? I ask myself that a lot these days. So I started with WinLink, and RDOT was the thing that everybody's using for WinLink. I couldn't get it to work, really. Thank goodness. VARA took over as the preferred HF mode for WinLink. So I found it was more reliable for me than WinLink packet for my setup. Now, maybe the way my antenna is and the Bartow repeater, I can actually get to the school, the Whisper station better than I can the Bartow, just the way my antenna is. But I kind of fell in love with it because, hey, it says HF. And you got to know a little bit more about HF. You got to know what time of day. You got to know atmospheric conditions. You know, there's a lot to it. Where is the gray line? You know, so there's a little more science to it. So I joined a VARA Facebook group, and they started talking about VarAC. So I downloaded it and tried it. Now, as Dan was here, he was going to the VARA site to download VARA, and there's another program there called VarAChat. That is not VarAC. VarAChat is a very rudimentary version of what I'm going to talk about. VarAC has a lot of bells and whistles. I'm going to go through that, and this is. I wrote this for 844 about a month ago, and what are we at, Dan? 848 now?
I think that's what it is, yeah.
So it's had like 4 revisions in the 3 weeks I had to write this. So I've got some comments in here.
86.
6?
62.
62? 86?
Yeah.
The two will talk to each other, but the bells and whistles are not going to be in the VarAChat. So you want VarAC. So go to VarAC, download it there. I hope I haven't confused you too much. There's 2 programs. So you got the VarAC program and you got the VARA modem. So this is the one you pay $69 for. There's a free version if you just want to see if it'll work, but in theory, the paid version is like 47 times faster. So you're going to get pretty frustrated trying to run the demo on any kind of communication other than just seeing that it works. The VarAC is another program. VarAC is going to launch the VARA modem, and that's all on your computer. Now, this computer can be Windows, anything that runs Linux. It can be Raspberry Pi. There are packages for all those types of computers, so you're not forced into Windows on this. So what's going to happen between your rig? So your rig is your radio. Now, if your radio is a fairly recent radio, it's going to have a USB connection to it. If it doesn't, you're going to need to have a signal link or something. And I'm going to throw that. The signal link is going to be part of rig. So that could be radio plus signal link, or it could be just your radio. So your computer is going to handle your audio. That's going to go through your microphone or your speakers. And then the cat control is going to go from the VarAC to your rig. If you don't have cat, which means the computer changes the frequency on your radio, you're going to have to tune the radio yourself. And that might happen quite often. If we do a VARA FM, VarAC FM, then most of our probably base stations don't have cat control. We'll be changing the frequency based on turning the dial. Now, the VarAC program will also interface with loggers. So anything that's keeping your ADIF file that you're going to upload into Logbook of the World or to QRZ, that'll interface there. I discovered one called the Logbook for the Old Man, and I'm using that. We also will interface with TSK Reporter, so you can. I'll talk about that. So that's the basic architecture. This is pretty dang busy. I'm glad one of the versions is they've separated these into individual windows, so you don't have to go through them all. But I thought I could just tell you how this is the basic setup. You select your radio model. I come at 7300 is what I picked, but probably, there's a big list if you drop it down, and that populates a lot of the fields. You got to tell it where you put the VARA modem, and if you leave it, your default's going to be on your C drive VARA/VarAC. Pretty easy. Your COM port's going to be the one that your USB, your computer sees the USB connected to. You can look at your hardware manager and it'll tell you that. And then if you're going to use your logging software, tell it where your logging software is so you can go there. And then save and exit. And you can leave everything here blank. I mean, just leave it as it is, the default, until you get more used to, oh, that's too long. I don't want that, wait that long for that, or you want to customize it. But just those 4 things is all you really need to do. This is your VARA workspace where you're going to spend most of your time. Up here, you can change your band or your frequency. And I'm going to go through each one of these in detail, so you don't worry about not being able to read it. If you want to call CQ or you want to connect to somebody direct, you see them they put their beacon out, you want to just talk to them, you can go direct, or just call you put a CQ out and see if anybody wants to respond. This place is, everybody on the band can hear what's typed in here. So that's an interesting feature there. And you could think about how you might want to apply that. You could kind of do a net there with that. Something to think about. This will give you a list of who's on the band, and that's because they're sending out a beacon. They send a beacon out every, I think, 10 or 15 minutes. Who's calling CQ? So people that call CQ, there's going to be a listing there. This is where you're going to type your conversation with the other person. You're going to see their what they're saying to you and what you say to them. This is where you type in what you want to say next. So that's the general outline. So, like I said, you either call CQ, random CQs. Mainly this will be on 20 or 40 meters. That's where people have been instructed to go to. However, I have done CQs on 30 and 10. So it's not hard to fast rule there. A direct connect is going to put you on the calling frequency. Now, I can tell you what the calling frequency is, where you initially start and say, hey, I'm here. Here's my beacon. Once you start talking to someone, you're going to go to a slot. Slot is a frequency a little bit over one direction or the other. And I'll show how that works. And there's a QSY wizard that'll help both stations change frequency automatically. So if the other guy changes his frequency, it'll ask you, do you want to follow him? So that makes it really nice. So what happens when you click call QC? Well, there are these slots. What was I talking about? Slots. So there's a calling frequency, and then there's these slots. 5 are on this side, 5 on this, over there. So you're going to need to sniff somebody's slot. I didn't come up with this terminology here. This is the slot sniffer button. Okay. Guys wrote this. That is sense of humor. So what you're going to do is you're going to say, okay, I'm going to check slot 1, and I'm going to click and hold that in. If I don't hear any signal there, it's a clear signal. And then there'll be some color changes if it's busy, and it'll say that kind of thing. So you pick your slot after you've sniffed it. You press call CQ. Your cat control is going to slip you over into that slot. Anybody that responds to your CQ, they're going to put them over in that slot with you. Pretty cool. Now, just added in the new version, you can actually say what kind of CQ you want. Do you want a DX? Do you want to arcs on the air? Is it a QRP? Are you going to go trying to go through a specific grid or state or country? That's all been added.
Is it just 2 people per slot, or can you have more, or can you do a group kind of thing?
The group thing is more for the broadcast. Okay. As far as I know, once you're in that slot, you are having a one-on-one conversation. And because of the handshaking and the air correct and all that kind of stuff, it's not like somebody can like, oh, I wonder if he's talking about that over there. I've never been able to do that. There may be a way to do it, but I don't know what it is. So it is like it's a private conversation. Who's on band? You're going to see what the frequency what their band is. How long ago was it? And this is minutes. So these guys were just now. That was 2 minutes ago. You're going to see this signal noise ratio, and that's pretty important. Why? Well, because the signal noise ratio is kind of like my analogy with the gears. If your signal ratio is 15 dB down, you're like in first gear and you're trying to go up a hill. It's a lot of work. It's going to be slow. 0 dB, you're kind of cresting that hill in fifth gear. If you get on the positive side, it's going to be smooth sailing. And this is how well he hears you and how well you hear him. So you want both of those to be, I'm going to say at least -10 based on my experience. And I'm going to give you some experience, some real world experience during the presentation. Now, you can ping another station to see, well, what is he getting me at? And then I know what I'm getting him at. So I'm going to hear. So you actually ping him. And when you ping him, you turn his radio on where you send him a signal, and and his radio will respond to your signal without him doing anything. All right. Pinging is done like a beacon kind of thing. So I pinged this guy. I got him myself. He's at -14, not really a good prospect. If I was desperate, there's one person on the air, I might do it. But I'm going to be looking for a better contact. About this is kind of like, it's better to have a really good contact than trying to get some exotic thing. Like, with FT8, you might be trying to get Madagascar or Libya or something, and you're just trying to make contact, see if you can get out that far. This is more, the better signals you can hear each other, the faster it's going to go. And the better experience is going to be for you to be able to chat, say something to him, get it, him chat, and you get it within a reasonable amount of time. So you want to have a good, now, this is the result of a ping shown in the data stream box. It was the box where everything's going on, what he said and what you said. So I got him at -7. And he got, well, let's see, I got him from his beacon, and when I pinged him, I saw that he got me at 0. So we are good to go. -7, he gets me at 0. That's pretty good prospect there. Any questions about that? Explain that all right? Okay, so type your message in here, or you can select a prepared one. Now, what's cool about this is it's kind of like a little calling card built in. And you put my info in there, and you can put your rig in and your antenna, all that kind of stuff. But you can also put in if you like to collect, oh, I don't know, coins, if you like sports cars, if you like racing, if you like RVing, if you like travel, if you like cruises, whatever you want as an icebreaker, because this is a way to talk to people on the radio about stuff other than radio. If you want to talk about Alabama football, this is where you can do it. These are the icebreakers. So you get to see what he's interested in, and you get to see what you're interested in. Talk to his place, put your old job. You know, if it, you know, you might find that you have similarities with you. So now it gives you a chance to look for some commonality with the person you're talking to. So you don't go in blind trying to meet somebody. So there's some other things, a voicemail. So this is interesting because this is the kind of program you could actually have running in the background. You could have it running while you're doing other things. And, you know, and I would encourage you to do it that way because it's kind of designed that way. And if you're not away, if you're not there, somebody can leave you a voicemail and say, hey, saw you were interested in soapbox derbies. I am too. Maybe I'll catch you later. And you can leave a message. When he comes back to his radio, he'll say, oh, this guy left me a message about that. You know, I'll look for him, see if he's still on and talk. So you had a way to say, hey, let's talk. You got something,
Now, is that stored locally on your computer?
It's stored. Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is.
There's no cloud or anything. It's just a stored thing.
Right. That's a good point. Now, there is a feature where you can set your station up to be a third-party mail storage thing. So, like, see, if you want to plant your mail on somebody's machine for somebody else, you can.
Hello, Legal Rescue 102, Census Avenue West, Tax Act 1932.
I turned that off on mine. I didn't want somebody putting mail on my radio, and I'm not there. I'm not running it that much. I would want somebody's mail to be on my radio. If anyone has left you an email, you will see a broadcast message to pick it up. That's that. Okay, I'm away. That's kind of like do not disturb if you want, nobody to bother you or whatever. It allows somebody to ping you while you're not there. The email's going to work. They're going to leave you a message. They're going to get a reply. You can say what you want to in that reply. You can actually edit that to be whatever you want it to be. There's a default if you don't want to change it. If you don't do anything for a while, it'll automatically go into I'm away. Like if you get called out to walk the dog or something, and you're gonna be gone 30 minutes, this is gonna click over in I'm away mode. You don't have to click it every time. Okay, so the broadcast, that's where a place to send a message so everyone on the frequency can hear it. Now, this in theory. Okay, now somebody is in Japan and they send the thing on the broadcast, I'm probably not going to hear it unless I'm actually, pointed that way and waiting. So this is anybody within listening range is going to pick it up. And they've actually they've tweaked this a bit, and you can actually select the speed of this, which could help if the signal noise ratio you're trying to reach is very low. But we could do this. If we wanted to set up an VARA FM net, we could do that. And we could have a net control here. We could have people, logging in here and saying, hey, I'm here. And, you could do that. What's kind of cool about this would have, think about how that work in an e-com situation where people could, on one of our repeaters, not a repeater. It would be a simplex for us, and people could call in on a round table and do that. So that's kind of a cool feature. Just like FTA, if you do that, you can change your fonts, you can change your colors. If it's a new guy on the band, a new country, a new grid, you can have it all show up in different colors. You can change your sounds. It's like when someone sends you an email, you get this like, hey, well, you got mail thing comes up, you could spell check, all that kind of stuff. You can do ultimate customization in it. This is where you make up your own canned messages, and then you could just use the function keys. Like if you've got something that you say a lot, people ask you the same question over again, you just want to have a nice answer, that button loads it. This is what it looks like after 30 minutes on the band. I'm just letting the thing run. So I pinged W3 BFO, got a response from him. These beacons, about a dozen people have sent beacons. You can see their signal noise, 18, 11, 11, 10. This guy called CQ. I don't know if anybody answered him. I'm not going to know that because, he was over in a slot 2. I'm not monitoring slot 2. And even if I did, I don't think I would be able to actually see him over there. So somebody have already responded to him. You can't really eavesdrop. Okay, so let's see if I did a good job explaining that, because there's a nice video that just tells you everything I told you, but in a very good, concise way.
Once everything's perfectly organized, I'll start working on my thesis.
Here's a quick video on VarAC by 4 Zulu 1 Alpha Charlie. It's an HF chat application that uses the VARA modem, which is similar to PAC203 in terms of high-speed performance over HF channels. What makes this modem different compared to other modems commonly used in HF chat applications is its ability to adjust to varying band conditions using different modulation types and speeds. The modem will either throttle up or slow down according to the feedback that occurs between stations during the handshake process. With higher signal-to-noise ratios, the modem will shift into its higher speeds, which are fast enough to exchange large files such as documents and images. Under poor conditions, the modem will shift into low speed to maintain throughput. The software has some unique features such as the automatic transfer of station information. Here you can see the other station's name and QTH being received automatically. Signal reports were also exchanged and continuously updated during the QSO. Another useful feature are the audible alerts that let you know such things as when you've received a reply, or even when the other station is typing. The program keeps a log of CQ calls and last heard stations. The latter is a result of periodic beaconing, which lets you know which stations are active. The QSO is initiated by connecting to another station. This can be done by entering the station's call manually, or by clicking on a station within the last heard beacon list or the CQ list. As I mentioned earlier, the modem does very well under poor conditions by adjusting its speed to accommodate weak signals. I recently had a QSO with W3RED in Omaha who was using his magnetic loop antenna positioned next to a window in a 7th floor condo. Scott gradually dropped his power to test the mode's limits, and we were surprised to see how well the modem performed. At this point, he's down to 1 watt, and he's about to send a long string of text. His signal is barely above the noise floor at times, but throughput is very good. Reception is in real time here, so it'll give you some idea of how fast the data is received under moderate to poor conditions. VARA is an ARQ protocol that uses error correction, so you won't see any erroneous characters during a QSO. So that's VarAC in a nutshell. I'll leave a link to VarAC and VARA modem in the description. 7.3 from K2MO.
There's a lot of YouTubes you can watch, just like anything else on ham radio. But that one was a really concise description, and I hope it kind of reinforced. So here's an actual QSO I had with N8 WCP.
We're excited to share something new at VNH. Whether you're in New York City, across the US, or around the world, we always strive.
We don't need that.
Commercial.
Yeah. Okay. So I was sending a beacon and calling CQ. The QS wire slot through was automatic, and the response was 2 minutes after I called CQ. So I called CQ, and it started, and then nobody answered. So I called it again. A little laser here. Called it again, and then I got an incoming request. Still don't know who that is. That is the software telling you I haven't got his call sign yet. And then it told me N8 WCP. So I'm saying I get him at -14. He's giving me a +6. I'm screaming at him. This thing sets up at 50 watts is the default level of power. So you can tone that down if you like. Again, I mean, +6 is not that bad. I mean, to say you're going to be overdoing it. If you were up to +15 or something, that'd be crazy. But anyway, so I sent him my card. Gary Winter Haven, age 67, retired fiber optic manufacturing, hobbies RVing. I've added a few since then because that's not enough. And he says, "Good evening, Gary. Mike here." I said, "Hi, Mike. I'm new to VarAC." He says, "I'm a novice too. You're my fourth contact on this mode. I like the mode. I'm a phone guy and occasionally FTA, but this is much better for digital." So he sent that. It took about a minute and a half for this to come to me. That's a little wordy. Okay, so I said my fourth only QSR disconnecting after 4.5 minutes. Now I'll tell you why I learned that later, but I was like saying that's a problem. He says, "Wonder why that's happening. Maybe low signal noise." There's a Facebook group discuss this mode. Good place to ask a question. They interrupt the app and update on a regular basis. Now the time went from 56 to 58, so that took about a minute and 10 seconds. So about this time, we've been on here 4 minutes already. So we've made it past 4.5. And he said, "I like that. Good." Then let's talk about CW now. The phone, the system sends it sends your call sign and does a power check, signal noise ratio check periodically. He's original no code check. Your CW never really committed to it. Maybe when he retires in 6 years, what do you do for a living? Public safety communications. Then all of a sudden, QSO summary, and didn't even finish communication to see. So we got cut off. So what happened? Well, this is probably what happened. The -15 kind of got lost there. He was climbing that hill in first gear. So I said reconnect. So I went back to the calling frequency and I said, connect me back to NC WCP. So did that. Public safety communications. That came over. Another exchange of signal noise ratio. He says, "I think the band is not in our favor this evening." So I said, "We've reconnected and we're on slot 3, so okay." He said, "My HOA approved my in-fed wired antenna." He says, "Low signal noise ratio for my station. I had an issue with my Yankee. It gets cold. Otherwise, I just switched to it." I had to step away for a second. In-fed works well, but the beam thing, what are the modes do you like? Tell them about our WinLink net. And disconnected. Dropped again. Okay, connected back. I've used WinLink for email. I don't know where there were nets. So I sent him information about bulk areas and where to find the nets. And he said, "My low signal causes disconnect." He's absolutely right. He gave me his portcars.org is his website. Enjoy the QSO, 73. I said, "For all the best." Disconnected. So that was a QSO. It took about 30 minutes. He is in Ohio. I was getting a 15 dB -15. It's pretty much the limit of our manual says it's going to work. We had low signal noise called 2 spontaneous disconnects. It is a bit long-winded, which causes the QSO to last for a while. 25-word message took about 3 minutes to transmit. He had to step away. I'm not sure how long that took. How would that compare to CW? Sometimes 30 minutes. Number of characters, I counted, about 87 characters per minute or 17 words per minute, error free. So not the best, but it wasn't the best connection. Now, here's some things to know about this software. You can customize your PSK reporter. So there is a button on there for PSK reporter that just pops the thing up. And you can customize that to say just, for me, is that I want to see every VARAC in the world. I want to see it for the past 15 minutes, 2 hours, whatever you want to say. You can save that setting. So when you click the PSK reporter button, it comes up with that. As I said before, initial power is 50 watts. Tweak is needed. You can just do that on your radio if you want. You can run multiple instances of VARA if you want to receive new contact requests calling on a QSO, and I guess that is with the same radio. You can run multiple instances of VarAC on the same computer if you have more than one radio connected to it. So if you want to run VarAC and FM, and you want it on your mobile 2-meter radio, and you want to run it on your HF radio, you can do it on the same computer. It'll run on Linux. It's got predefined themes. You don't like the colors, change that. It's got one for visually impaired. If your eyes aren't what they used to be, you can have different profiles for different radios. It's updated often. Some of this is going to look different than what's in this presentation. You're going to get your call sign set every 10 minutes. Periodic beacon broadcasts don't transmit while you're in a QSO. So that's only if you're idle. Your periodic beacon is going to be sent out. VarACs only accept calls from valid call signs. So if somebody's on there with an invalid call sign, it's going to check it'll check the database. If it's not valid, it won't make a contact.
What is it checking?
What's it checking? I guess it's checking.
QRC.
Well, you can. Yeah, it does interface with QRC. I'm not sure exactly what it is checking.
What if you don't have an internet connection, you're out in the field or whatever, running portable,
Well, it won't do it then.
and it won't allow contacts, or will it? No.
It'll probably just, I don't know.
I was wondering about that.
I don't know if it checks the format or what. It says it only, I'm going by what the manual says. So I have not really, I wouldn't know, I guess, if someone with an invalid call sign.
I guess you have to untie that knot and find out why.
Yeah, you can blacklist call signs if you find somebody you don't want to hear from again, I guess. You can transfer files. You can limit the file size transferred to you without asking permission. You probably don't want to do one of these file transfers on the main 20 and 40 meter CQ slots. Now, it comes with these defaulted frequencies, but there's nothing that says you have to stay there except you don't want the slots to go out of band for what your license allows you to do. So you can set up your own calling frequency and slots if you have a group of people that want to do their own thing, like a net. So calling CQ will put you in a slot of your choice after you call. When direct connect means I want to talk to that call sign. That'll put you on the calling frequency. And if you stay on the calling frequency for 5 minutes, it'll kick you off. All right. Which I learned. It does that. If you need to change to another slot, there's a QSY invitation wizard. Because I'd like to change frequency. And it'll tell him, hey, he wants to change frequency. You want to go with him? Like, yeah. So they both, and the caps will control change frequency on both radios. One thing I like about this, it will not freak out like WJSTX will if you turn off your radio. If you ever use JT, at least like your sound card settings are all messed up. It's like freak out. You got to go back and say, oh, it's codex, this codex. It doesn't do that. I love it. If you're looking for random contacts, 20 meter band's good, 40 meter at night in general. If you're going to do a net, make sure everybody knows, when it's going to be. You could set up your own calling frequency and slots with the VARA. Make sure you're in the right part of the band for that. Your broadcast area could be used in net control. Slots could be used for side conversations. If the net said, okay, you know, this EOC needs to talk to another EOC, you guys go over to slot 3 and have that. You could use voicemail as a messaging service within the net. You could do file transfers. Well, you want to do those with direct calls. What I really liked about the program, I thought was just wow. The manual, holy cow, 100 pages long. I've only hit the highlights. It is well written. Really good manual. The guys did a great job with this. You can actually have your radio change the monitoring band to change the function time of day. So to say in the early afternoon, you want to be on 15 meters. They'll do that. And you'll say about 3 o'clock, I'm going to switch to 20. Sundown, I want like to go to 40. About 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, it put me on 80. It'll do that. Any call sign on that page, right click it, their QRZ page will come up. Picture, whatever they want to put on there. QRZ page, like if you've never been there, it's like Facebook for ham radio. People put pictures of the motorcycles. I had a great, that was a guy in South America. He put pictures of his cows. That was this, like a selfie. Big horns on his mouth.
It's his 401k.
That's kind of nice. Oops, sorry. There's a chat history. So if you know you contacted someone, but you can't remember what you talked about, you can pull it up. Oh yeah, yes, kids. Oh yeah, you went to college here. Yeah, that's kind of nice. You can use gestures, emojis, sound. You can make sounds come over. You can have emojis. It's available in English, German, Chinese, Hebrew, Slovak, Japanese, and Dutch. Serbian and Italy, Italian are in process. And this is really cool, blew me away. If somebody's talking to you in one of these languages, you hit the right button, right click, hit Google Translate, it'll translate to English. And that includes Japanese characters, Sanskrit.
Wow.
Yeah. How about that? And the programs are written in these languages. So their menus, their whole setup is done. This is actually written in Dutch. The original language is Dutch. So even though it's only been out for a year, so it's just really catching on in the English world. And the VarAC is free. This whole program is free. It's only the VARA modem high speed is the thing that you need to pay for. So is it good for emergency communication? Well, for some purposes. So there is a VARA FM chat. You can use it on 2 meter or 70 centimeter. It would be simplex for us because we don't have a VARA FM repeater. If we had one, if we had a VARA FM repeater, we could run it through that. It would be useful for person-to-person chat or a net using the broadcast window, but WinLink is what you want to use for a file. And the reason is when you use WinLink, you're only sending the content of the fields of the forms. If you tried to send a PDF of a form in VarAC, that is, you're going to have a bad time. That's all I'm going to say. It's not what you want to do.
Just not going to do it.
WinLink has a purpose, and that's what this is for. Plus, don't be confused, that email thing, that is not like WinLink email, because that's just like a little message. The WinLink email is the real email. You know, it interfaces with Google and, you know, the whole internet and your SMS messaging systems. So for some, yeah, but it doesn't replace WinLink. WinLink's a different tool. But the manual for VarAC, it's actually got 8 drills you can do. So if we, you know, if the Aries group or whatever wanted to, you know, people got familiar with this, they wanted to try it, or if we wanted to try something at a QRP, if we had a few people set up with this, we wanted to run a VARA FM net at a QRP. If we had a few guys with, you know, the both things hooked up to their computers, we could play around with that. So this is a tool, you know, and we can, you know, you let your own imagination, you know, as an engineer, you know, you think about how you use your tools. well, here's a new tool and how you might want to use it. So why not try it? Well, and you've got FT8. If you've done FT8, you already got the software. I mean, you got the hardware. You're done. If you run, same thing. Don't change any settings. You're already there. It runs on FM. If you use Packet from WinLink, you've got the hardware to run VarAC on FM. And you might not find anybody to talk to locally because it's new and not many people know about it. It'll interface with your popular logging software. VarAC is free. Has to be $69. Yes, sir.
Two questions. The hardware, minimum suggested hardware requirements for the laptop for the PC.
I run it on a micro PC, which is there's a box about that big, Windows 10. I don't think it's that fast. I mean, it's just like your regular. I got it for $120 on Amazon. I had to have a Windows PC for ham radio, unfortunately. I usually use the Mac for everything else. But
Is it one of those mini PCs about?
yeah.
I got one in my base station.
Like
I like it.
a Ace PC or something like that. It's one of those Chinese.
Yeah.
This has got the hard single or solid state drive for the drive. So it's not really that challenging, I don't think.
So if it'll run Windows 10.
Yeah, I think so. I believe so.
Hope so. That's why right here.
They're running on a Raspberry Pi. That's right.
Windows 11, $10.
Yeah, I haven't run it on a Raspberry Pi. I've got one. It's probably on my list of things to play with. See if I can get it on that. Other question?
Yeah, question two, you mentioned band switching like time of day.
Yeah.
Does it know anything about your SWR or whether you have an antenna actually connected to that band?
No.
So it's just gonna try.
Well, it's going to do what you tell it to do. That you program it.
It
It will not automatically switch unless you tell it what you want it to switch to. Otherwise, it will stay on whatever you set. So the default is no switching.
Can you put the slide up again with the link to download the software if you had that in there? I missed it, sorry.
Which software?
For the VarAC.
VarAC. The simplest thing to do is just type VarAC in your.
I was being lazy.
Well, okay. Let's see. All right, VarAC. Home.
There you go.
Here's what we went through 6 minutes ago.
Yeah, this pretty girl is waiting for you. She wants to talk to you in Japanese. It's as simple as that. Yeah, no transfer. Little transfer. What do you guys think about it?
Oh, let's try it now.
I think it's funny if you try.
I would visualize ham radio would be something where you actually be able to have a talk with someone, maybe make a friend.
I like the idea of peer-to-peer.
It is. I mean, there's no other way of ham radio. You get a pile up on voice, you get the FT8. The JSA call is not that
Or small.
not that great for this. That's so much.
Small
I've had several conversations with people, and we don't talk about radio. We talk, and if you're going to talk about stuff, you're going to talk about your sports car, your motorcycle. Put the picture of it on your QRZ page, and then instead of trying to send the photo, just send them the link in the conversation. They'll click on it, and then they'll see your picture of what.
Put a picture of the ground.
Are the various versions compatible, or do you always have to have the, or does everybody have to have the same version?
No.
When they update the versions?
I don't think so. It's just going to be, it's just features, but the basic reading of the,
Probably after so long, you might have to update, but.
I'm thinking about the QSY wizard thing. Probably won't. I mean, it's going to send you, whenever you launch this and there's an update, it'll say, hey, there's an update. And probably going to want to do it. But I would say for most part, it's not mandatory.
Not the 3 versions only limited to speed. Is unpaid?
Okay, yeah, the VARA free is like 50 times slower than VARA paid. So VARA is built for speed. So yeah, it's fly. If you've got a really good connection, it outdoes anything out there. what we used for Olivia, and I was just doing a comparison. Olivia is like 1,000 bits per second. This goes to 8,000.
Wow.
If you have a, yeah, and if you have an ICOM 7300, it's really kind of interesting. That particular radio, you can go in what they call tactical mode, and it goes even faster than any other radio.
Really?
Yeah, just I don't know why, faster than either the higher end ICOM.
Wow.
But it's like 7,000 instead of 8,000.
Something I just thought of, you buy the license, can you run multiple versions for yourself, like one on your Go kit, one on your base station?
Absolutely.
So in other words, they don't care, as long as you pay the money, then you get faster.
You get a registration key, and you can type that in as many computers as you want. I mean, it's going to be tied to your call sign, just like the WinLink's tied to your call sign. So yeah.
If you're using VARA with WinLink, it will match your call signs.
Mhm.
They don't care how many
So
times
if you
install.
just want to get on and listen, you see what I'm saying now, there's not, that doesn't sound like there's a division for that.
Not much. You're going to see the beacons. You're going to see people calling QC. You may see a broadcast message or two, but you're not going to be able to hear somebody talk to somebody else, as far as I know. Now, there may be other software out there that allows you to tap in somehow and monitor. There might be. I don't know if there is what it is. Right. That's what I'm saying. There's got to be some.
Or somebody else in the emergency communications business using software like this.
I didn't hear the first part of your question.
Is FEMA or anybody else in the
Well, there's a chapter in the manual on emergency communication. So I don't really know, Jim, how much it is, but then there is a part of the manual that's about ecom. I think there is. I mean, it even says it's fun or for ecom on their website. So,
Would be very valuable.
but it's really new. I mean, it's very new.
Yeah.
It's very new. So you're a little bit on the bleeding edge here, but I hope you enjoyed the presentation.
Just a speculation question. With the new rule changes coming down that will go into effect almost any time, where the bit per symbol rate is going away.
Yeah.
I wonder how that's going to change this. It's going to get faster now.
Yeah,
Because you're going to be able to go up 2.8 kilohertz wide now.
Okay.
When the new rule change comes in, there's no more 1 bit per symbol.
Yeah.
You're not tied to 300 baud anymore.
So that's going to give you more
You could go
more
to
gears in your
Your
transmission.
signal could be up to 2.8 kilohertz wide, the same width as a single sideband voice transmission.
Okay.
If it fits in that, you can do it.
So it's probably going to increase it
I think it's going to increase.
30% maybe.
It's going to increase the speed.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see all the modes change.
Yeah.
Once the rule for change goes into effect.
I can
It's
tell
going to
you
blow the doors off.
the MCOM side for the Aries modem, a lot of, or for the VARA modem, a lot of Aries groups, not here, but elsewhere, are starting to push for it because it's fast.
Yeah, updates faster.
Yeah, there, a lot of the other groups, improv groups are pushing their members to use VARA modem.
Yes.
Because it's faster.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. It's screaming
I
fast.
do have an announcement. I haven't done a press release, so I do have an announcement. All the PetCon videos are up on the section YouTube channel now.
There's some good ones.
N4RTE got them done late Sunday, early Monday. So they are all up now for your, including one for yours. You can stand on.
All right, thank you, Gary. Got just a couple of things. I have information if anybody's interested in a good deal on a 7300 box manual, all the stuff, toys that go with it. Member of the Lakeland Club, but he asked me to put it out over here. So if you're interested, I can give you that information. The other thing is how many of you have been doing anything with the GMRS net? First week we had it, which was the week before last, we had initial GMRS net in this county. And what my point is this, I've been trying to tell everybody that that's your picking field for ham radio. That is the field that we need to plow. 39 check-ins on the first net we ever had. 39 check-ins. 33 on the second. They were so excited. People called me and said, I have waited for over 2 years to be able to check into a net. I've listened to them on ham, but I've always wanted to check into a net. They checked in and they were super excited. That guy will become a ham. I guarantee he will. But out of this club, I know we've probably got 17 people that were started in GMRS and that wound up over here. A couple of them still sitting in here tonight. So that's your picking field. And so it was an exciting time to do that. Thanks to the county for putting that up.
I'm not going to learn all y'all's GMRS call signs. I can tell you that.
I had to go look mine up.
Well, I can put another column up there.
Well, we baited the field. We admit that. We did bait the field, and we did that for a reason, because they've never participated in nets. So for the only people that could demonstrate how to do that secretively were going to be the ham guys. So we participated. We came in at different times, and in order to facilitate the net, they didn't know that. The other folks didn't know that, but we were doing that in order to teach how to properly communicate on the net. What we will be doing on that net is, once we get everybody used to that, probably about another 2 weeks, we're going to start an education process right in the middle and do some 3-minute education blips, and then just to feed that interest a little bit more. So start using terminologies that they may not be used to, that type of thing.
Don't teach them how to turn menu 39 on.
Right.
Any interest in adding a repeater to our repertoire? GMRS repeater to the equipment that we already have.
Us?
Yes.
I don't know.
One in Bartow covers everything.
Yeah, one in Bartow covered. It's finding a place to put them. I mean, it's just like, it's almost impossible to find any. Vertical real estate is expensive. All right, that's all I have. If you're interested in that net, you want to sign up for Sun and Fun. That's it. Appreciate y'all being here. Good to see you, sir. I had to spend the day with my wife.
That's a good. Thank you. Forget.
I noticed you had the.
All right, guys, don't turn you off. Thanks, Dave, for putting this up.
Thank you, guys.
All right, see you guys later.